Guys, MJZ Reviews here, and today I'm going to go through my top 5 One Piece villains, and at the end I'm going to give a few honorable mentions. So yeah, let's get to it. So number 5, this is going to be kind of like an upsetter. Doflamingo from the recent Dressrosa arc. The weird thing about Doflamingo is that when he started off as a character, he was kind of introduced as this kind of like childish guy who just wants entertainment. But when we get to Dressrosa, he's more like an angry guy. Yeah, he was really interesting at Marineford. He's high on high on this list because I had tons of villains to choose from. But he's high. He's number 5 because I just really like his powers and the birdcage and stuff like that. Even though Oda didn't really handle the birdcage and like scene that well because it kind of lasted a bit too long, if you know what I mean. But in the end, he has a good and interesting backstory. Kind of tells you why he's so weird and messed up. And yeah, and he had an interesting fight with Luffy. He had this kind of devil fruit awakening. Some people didn't like it, but I thought it was all right. Oda could have been a bit more creative, but he did his best. Yeah, Dressrosa did drag on for a while, but Doflamingo did help it. He made Dressrosa better in the end, and yeah, just good villain, really cool design. A bit different from what Oda usually does, and yeah, Doflamingo, number 5. Next, we have at number 4 a villain that most of you should remember, but some of you might have forgotten. Arlong. So Arlong, you're like, what? He was only in like 2 or 3 volumes. You're right, but Arlong is a really important character to One Piece. He because of Arlong, it's Nami is the way she is because of Arlong, and yeah, he just gave me this like lasting impression that I really hated this guy, especially when he made this deal with Nami, and then he kind of just broke the deal, and Nami's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, "Oh, I never made a deal in the first place." And Nami's like too scared to say anything because this guy's like so strong, and this guy is the second strongest guy in East Blue behind Smoker. You know, he's just he had a really good fight with Luffy in the end, and yeah, he's not as well written as some of the other villains, but it's just that lasting impression that he had on me, and he makes the Arling Park arc even more interesting than it is, and yeah, if you haven't watched or read Arlen Park in a while, you should definitely like read it or watch it again. And yeah, Arlen at number 4. Next, we're gonna have some of you are gonna say, why is he so high on this list? Kizaru, that guy right there. If you don't know, yeah, I don't. He's not that well written, and his character hasn't been fully developed yet. But again, it's just kind of the impression that he left on me after Shibondi. He kind of this guy. He's kind of like a one man army, and he just wrecks all of the supernovas at Shibondi again. And yeah, me and my friend like to kind of like take the piss out of him, and he's really funny. When you play One Piece Burning Blood, this guy, he's annoying, but he's funny at the same time, and he's kind of I like his like gimmick, and he speaks like an absolute weirdo for some reason, but yeah, he's just interesting. I kind of like his gimmick, and he has a cool power. And some say he's gonna have a fight with Sanji later on, but we'll see about that. Yeah, and yeah, I want to see more of him. And he's kind of been pushed into the sidelines because of Akainu and Aokiji, but that's the way it works. You can't make every character. You can't bring every character into the spotlight. In a series that large. And next we're gonna have number 2, Rob Lucci. If you don't know, the guy right there. Yeah, Rob Lucci. Again, he's not that well written, to be honest. He's some people say he's a bland villain, and even like Spandam was more developed than him, and I agree. He's kind of like this typical villain. He's had this like dark backstory. He's dedicated his life to the government. He hates pirates and stuff like that. But the main reason I chose him is because of his powers and the fight with Luffy. and because of the fight with Luffy, that really made me love One Piece. I loved it before that, but at that point I was like, I need to read more. I need more One Piece, and it's just his fight, and especially the scene with like his Rokyogan, and yeah, you just again you want to see more of him, and spoilers, he did appear recently in I don't know, like 2 years ago, I think, in the manga. He popped up at the end of Dressrosa. Yeah, I think he's gonna have another fight with Luffy. Hopefully he does. Hopefully it's even better than his first fight with Luffy, because his first fight with Luffy was probably the best in the series. Yeah, is he just pushed Luffy to his absolute limit. Luffy like I had like never seen Luffy so close to dying before. And yeah, Rob Lucci, in the end, he's not that well written, but I still enjoy his powers and stuff like that. And then last, so it's you are probably gonna think it's either Kainu or Eneru, and in the end, it's going to be Eneru. I'll go on to why I don't really like Kainu that much later on, but yeah, let's focus on Eneru. Eneru he's just a beast. You get introduced to him, he like predicts how many people are gonna like live and die at the end, and I think he gets it right in the end, and he actually achieves his goals at the end of Skypiea, unlike some of the other villains. And yeah, I think he's well written. I think interesting. He's got this Logia power which seems like unbeatable until Luffy's like, "Nah, mate, I'm rubber. I can do what I want." He has this before they go off. He goes off in his Arc Maxim. He has this really interesting fight with Luffy, and Luffy uses a lot of techniques which we haven't seen before. And yeah, he kind of, if Luffy wasn't there, everybody would be dead. And because of Luffy, you know, it, he lost obviously, but it was mentioned that if Enru had a bounty in the the One Piece world, like not in Skypiea but on the actual like surface, his bounty would be 500 million, which is Luffy's current bounty. And since the time skip, he's probably gotten even stronger, and he is gonna reappear soon. I just know it for some reason. I know that he's gonna be important, because he went off to the moon. If you don't know, if you've only watched the anime, he actually went off to the moon. It was mentioned in a manga cover story, and it's kind of some interesting stuff mentioned in that cover story. So you should probably check that out if you haven't. And yeah, he's gonna have some importance later on in One Piece. I know it. And now, yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna do a few honorable mentions now. Uh, so Crocodile. I was going to put him number 6, if I did the top 10. But yeah, Crocodile, that guy right there, quite an interesting villain. He's, when we first see him, he's like this kind of like hero, but then it gets revealed that he's like a more sinister type of guy. He tries to like drown the Straw Hats and that, and his fight with Luffy was a really good fight, and you kind of really hate him, and it's nice to see Luffy just punch him up with his Gum Gum Storm. And then the thing with Crocodile is that he'd been hyped up for about 10 volumes, and with a lot of series, with this villain getting hyped up, they just can't. He gets hyped up so much that when he gets revealed, some people are like, "Is this it really?" But Crocodile lived up to his expectations, which was good. And he actually reappears in Impel Down later on, just interesting. And he's sort of Luffy's ally now, and yeah, and I really love Baroque works. Unlike Doflamingo's gang, his side, his Baroque works are actually memorable. I know the names of like each of these characters. I can only name like 2 or 3 of Doflamingo's gang, and that's that just shows how much effort went into writing this Baroque works saga. So well developed, and we get Crocodile, just such a good villain. More honourable mentions. Marshall Teach. The only reason he wasn't in my top 5 is because we haven't seen all of them yet, and yeah, maybe when in 50 years when One Piece is over, I'll put he'll be in my top 5 somewhere. And then lastly, some of you are going to get mad. Akainu, you're like, what? He's number 1. I don't. He just seems like this kind of just like a grumpy old guy, and he's. But Oda did a good job by making him threatening, but he did get beaten up by Whitebeard, which was quite nice to see. And yeah, he again we haven't seen all of him, and I'm kind of waiting for his fight with Luffy for now. So yeah, that's it. Again, this video will be unedited, and sorry if I'm not putting too much energy into this video. I'm just quite tired, school's over. But yeah, please like, share, and subscribe.